So today we're going to frost some cookies. We're going to make a beehive, a bee, and a ladybug. Nice summery cookies. First thing you're going to need is all your supplies nearby. You're going to need powdered sugar. And my frosting isn't typical. A lot of people who frost cookies use a different frosting recipe that hardens more. Mine's a softer recipe. It still dries, it still isn't tacky or anything, but it has a different flavor than most frosting recipes. So you need powdered sugar, you're going to need some milk, you're going to need vanilla, and I use clear vanilla, the Wilton kind. It keeps the frosting whiter, especially when I'm using white. You're going to need some kind of a zip top bag. I'm just doing a few cookies, so I'm going to use a sandwich size. If you're doing quite a few cookies, you're going to want to use the quart size, because with if you have a lot of frosting, icing, whatever you want to call it, in the bag, the sandwich bag split too easy. So use one of these if you're doing quite a few. You'll need some kind of a coloring, whatever colors you want to use. I use paste colorings. They're Wilton too, I think. We're going to use red, yellow, and black today, so I use these. You could use the squirt, those squirt colors. They're not going to come out as bright and as dark if you use those. You'll want, what I always do is I never come up with these on my own, so I always look off pictures of what I want things to look like. I print a lot off the internet, I like for magazines. You're going to need a bowl with your powdered sugar in it. I'm afraid, never measure any of the ingredients for the icing. It's just kind of a guesstimate. So I'm thinking with how many cookies I have. Oh, and I forgot, you need cookies. And so I have my cookies already. And for the recipe for the sugar, use the basic sugar cookie recipe out of this, the Better Homes and Gardens book. And I cut down the sugar just a little bit because I put so much icing on the cookies, so I didn't want them too sweet. So it's just the basic sugar cookie recipe. So what I first add is my vanilla. Like I said, I use clear vanilla, and just pour a little bit in there to give it flavor. I'm adding some milk, and again I'm just eyeing it. It looks pretty liquidy, but I have a lot of sugar up here on the edges. So, and I just use a fork to stir it. You could use a spoon. You want to incorporate all the powdered sugar. So we just used a few spoonfuls. I can't even tell you how much powdered sugar. I threw in some vanilla, and then I added some milk. Definitely too thin to spread, so we're going to add more powdered sugar. Again, like I said, I don't ever measure it, so I'll start with a spoonful, see what I come up with. I think that's good enough to spread. So what I'm going to do is take part of this. I don't want all of it. Get this off here. I'm going to tuck that in my water cup over there. So let's put some of that. I'm just going to put that in my, and then let's get my red food coloring. And then this is what I use plastic knives for. I know a lot of people use toothpicks, but I like just get a big old chunk, because like with the ladybugs, I like them really red. And just stir that up. Still kind of pink. Sometimes it seems like with the red though, the longer it sits on the cookie, it gets a little darker. I don't know if that's true or not, but it just seems like that's the case. I think I'm going to add a little more red though. I scrape this off. I usually just dump it in the water, and then that's where I grab my other knife, so I don't have to rinse it off right away. Let's grab another chunk of red. Let's try that now. There, that's darkening up. And we're going to grab a cookie. So then you take a glob, my technical term, glob of frosting, and I make sure it gets right in the middle, and then just spread it around in a circle. A lot of times if I'm doing points, like a star or something, I won't do this to fill it in. I'll actually use the Ziploc bag full, and then kind of pipe it in. I'll show you on the bumblebee what that's going to look like, but with the round circles it doesn't have to be perfect. So one down. Afterwards, what I usually do is wait a day until it dries, because with this kind of icing, the colors will bleed if they're not really dry. If I put like black on here right now, it would run into the red, which is it's a different technique. You could do it, but I like it so it stands up a little bit more. So we're going to let these sit and dry. Get some yellow. And I like bright colors, so I always use quite a bit. And our beehive cookies. So same thing works here. I'm going to take, this time we're going to use probably a couple different globs in the middle. But the thing with the beehive, it has some circular areas on it, so I just push the tip into the, I don't know what called, the part of the beehive. So we'll do it a couple times. If we did it all at once, it would just be a big old gloppy mess. So just push it to the edge. Keep the biggest chunk in the middle though to work from. To the edge, bring it back to the middle, edge. And we're going to highlight it with the black a little bit later, so if it's not perfect on the, you know, round edges, you're okay, because you're going to make it look like it was, because you're going to put some black in there, kind of trace it. Alright, let's get a little bit more, not too much. Okay. I always like to make sure he's that little spot's rounded off. Kind of got some of that going right. Okay, so there's one. Alrighty, so let's do the bees next. Okay, we're going to use this again, but we're not going to be spreading it. We're going to be putting it in a zip top bag. Alrighty, so you take your zip top bag. This is where an empty cup comes in handy. I like doing this because it's a lot. Ooh, put something in my bag. Okay, and then we need one of our spatulas. I just smashed a cookie. And we're going to scrape this into here. I'll use all the rest of it. I have to do some more beehives, but I'll make some more icing later. Okay, so I get that in there, into the water that goes. And then up this comes, and it's just a little bit, but that's all. I think that's all we're going to need. We don't need very much. Squeeze out all the air. Alrighty. Make sure it's sealed. That's kind of a biggie, because if it's not, that's not very fun to get frosting all over you. Get enough over you already as it is. And then just make sure it all gets to the corner. And this is where, if you're doing these using the Ziploc bags, having the quart size, if you had a lot more frosting in here, you would want the quart size. Like I said, it'll split the seams, but we just have a little bit. So we've squished it all to the corner. We're going to kind of squish it even more. And it's going to look like this. And then you're just going to twist it around so you have something that looks like this. This is where your scissors come in handy. Let me get some cookies first before I get too far ahead of myself here. Get some of the bumblebees, or bees, or whatever they are. Wasps, I don't know. Alright, and then you're just going to cut the tip out of this. You can see that. Just a little bit. And then we'll see, once I start using it, if I need to cut more, because you can always cut more. So what we're going to do on this one, yeah, he's got a key thing on him. We're just going to take the yellow straight down in here, and then we're going to let that dry, because we're going to use some black highlights. That's the picture I was looking off of. So with this, oh yeah, we've got it coming out already, so you got to be careful. We're going to actually follow the edge, and again, not too close because it'll go all over. And we want a bunch up there, and then to fill in the middle, we're just going to go back and do the same thing. This is called, I think, flood icing. Usually you kind of have a stiffer outside edge, but since I'm doing a smaller part, I'm just using the same part, same frosting, icing, whatever, for all of it. Okay. So that's all we're going to do in yellow and that. These are ones I made earlier of the ladybugs. And that, where's the other one? That, because we're going to do the details for these. And let's get my two little buddies right here. Alrighty. We're going to use, again, another sandwich bag. Move that out of the way. Open it up. Stand it up. I've done this before without standing it here, and it's difficult. much nicer to have that. All right, let's get our spatula out of the water. And let's scrape that in here. Alrighty. Yeah. Good enough. Get back in the water. Already pop this puppy out. Make sure you're closed up. And again, squeeze out the air. Squeeze it to the end. There's just a little, so I didn't lay it down, but squeeze it. Twist it. Now this time we're going to want an even smaller cut because the details that we're looking for are pretty small. So we're going to do a little teeny tiny cut. If it's too small, we'll make it bigger. If it's too big, we'll have to use another bag. So I think we'll start on, well, we were doing ladybugs first, so let's continue with the ladybugs first. So we're going to do the head first. We're going to trace the outline just like we did on the bumblebees, where we traced and filled. We're doing the same thing here. We're going to trace and fill. Yeah, that's not pretty. Oh well. Trace and fill. That flood icing. We're flooding it. Okay. And then I'm going to put, I like the line down the middle. I didn't do that last time, but I'm going to this time, just like that. And then we're going to make dots. Just squeeze it, lift it. Squeeze, lift, squeeze, lift, squeeze, lift. I'm just barely squirting it out too. I don't think we need to change the size of the hole. There we go. That one's done. So the next thing we did was the beehive, so we'll do that again. So what we're going to do first is we're going to outline it, do the edging on it, and then we'll come back and fill in the lines. So you can start anywhere you want. I just happen to be starting at the top right now. I'm going to try and turn that back because it's not coming out straight. Sometimes the seam of the bag, if it's down, it kind of throws you off. So let's see if that'll take care of it. It's still not coming out right. I might have cut it crooked. Oh well. Follow along the wall. Yeah, I might need to cut that again. Okay. Well, yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Okay, and then we're going to go across here. Now, you probably won't have these cookie cutters, but the technique's the same if you're decorating anything. Even if you're doing a smiley face cookie, you could still use the frosting spreader to spread it in, and then use this to do your details. Or if you're doing a sunshine, or depending on what cookie cutters you have or don't have. Here's that one's done. Let's do our bumblebees. And I'm just doing simple 2 little eyes, because this was a new look I wanted to try. 2 little bumblebee eyes. And then some stripes. Takes practice with this too, to know how much, like that. Like that little issue. And then let's put a little stinger right there. Okay. So with the bumblebee and the beehive, you can leave them separate, or sometimes what I've done is whatever color I happen to have, I'm using black right now, put a little bit on the back and then just glue it on there, and then it'll, you know, by night, after overnight, it'll dry and you have a little set that goes together. Alrighty, well, I hope you are able to make your own cookies. If so, I'd love to see them. Alrighty, thank you.